As I was pre-shuffling the decks, I heard the phrase, like a moth to a flame. I still don't really know what that means with the messaging that's going to be coming through in today's tarot session, but I did keep hearing it, and so a little bit of what I'm feeling with that energy is it's not negative, it's a positive thing, and it feels like it has something to do with your passion. So as I shuffled for the theme today, I got closure, and I also got financial health. And with the closure, it's this opportunity of the closing of a cycle. A lot of what's been coming up in the past couple weeks is the continuous cycles, like these cycles that we continue to lock ourselves in instead of breaking free and allowing those cycles to end when they're ready to end and start a new one. So with the closure, what I'm seeing is that right now is the opportunity to close out this cycle. We're heading into a new moon tomorrow night, January 18th, and this new moon is pretty pivotal for this upcoming year in creating it's the beginning of a new cycle. It's very grounded, it's in Capricorn, and it's something that will allow us to really settle in and root and ground in what it is we want. So as the cycle comes to a close, what I'm actually seeing is like doing your own ritual. I'm hearing the word rituals of, if you have time around this full moon, doing whatever type of ritual, and that can look like anything, just taking a moment for yourself of allowing yourself to close this cycle that is no longer, how do I say that? I feel resistant. It's like there's resistance to saying no longer serving you. It's just more of like it's come to an end. It will no longer serve you if you continue to move forward. It served its purpose, and there's this opportunity to begin anew with being honest with yourself and being in your truth of how you want to proceed with your life, with your purpose. How do you want to live your life? And the financial health that came through, what I was seeing is as you continue to align and plant seeds with the things that are your passions, your desires, you're going to see a lot of this abundance that maybe you haven't seen in your life before, or maybe you have and you lost it. But that's not the main focus, and that's what I keep hearing, is if you are doing something strictly for the money, it's not going to serve you in the way that it's meant to serve you, and you're not going to receive the abundance that you're meant to receive. Doesn't mean that you still won't receive abundance. You may end up receiving a bunch of financial health, but I could see, like what I'm seeing is it's not stable. It wouldn't be stable financial health. It would be very, I'm like seeing like an earthquake, like shaky and fragile, and it could just shatter. So being willing to build and plant these seeds on and creating this foundation where you're putting your heart into something you love and focusing on your passions with the idea that the abundance like trusting that it will come, but that not being your main focus. Like a moth to a flame. Like a moth to a flame. They just keep saying it. What does that mean? With this message, what does that mean? Ace of Wands. This, it's so funny. This came out in the pre-shuffle. But I only saw the picture. I didn't see what it was. I saw it very quickly as I put it back in. I didn't really look at it. I just saw the fire and the egg. And what it looked, I remember thinking, like, it looked like a match. Lighting a match. And then I heard like a moth to a flame. This is your seed, your egg. This is what you're nurturing, and then you have this fire around it. That's your fiery passion. And I almost see the egg right here in your solar plexus, which is your personal power, your willpower, your I am, of just like, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to nurture. And but the question is, are you willing to nurture? Are you willing to nurture the seeds that you are planting? What seeds are you planting? Are you going to nurture them? Are you going to stay consistent with them? Or are you going to let go of nurturing them and focus on the superficial, materialistic, I'm hearing needs, and they are needs, but when you put all your eggs in that basket, you don't end up, you're not in alignment with your passions. It doesn't come from a place of love, it comes from a place of greed. And money comes and goes very easily, even if it may not feel that way to you. But what I'm seeing is like, money can be taken away from you so easily. And what I see is like, so many people have these like safety nets, and there's this hoarding, which that word came up in the last tarot reading. There's this like hoarding of like all the resources, and it feels so like panicky. And I see that being a way of like not living the life that you want to live. So some of you may not have the like hoard of like a safety net, but some of you do. And what I'm seeing is that it's harming. It's like standing in the way of your actual passions and desires and like what you want to do, because there's this fear, this lack mentality of, well, I can't spend this money. This has to be my safety net. And the question, this is going to sound very harsh or maybe like abrasive, but like, what if you die tomorrow? That money's just going to be sitting there. And I'm not saying I'm not saying like just go spend all your money, but like be willing to utilize that money to invest in the things that you want to do and stop making excuses for it. And those who are not, like, they feel like they don't have money. And the reason I say feel like they don't have money, it's because it's a perception. It's the way they're perceiving their situation that's making it worse, quote unquote, because it's like, it's stopping abundance from coming through. And then it's also like really evaluating where you're spending your money, because there's a lot of people in this world who complain about not having enough money for certain things, but really what it is that they're spending money on the things that they want to, but not on the things that actually are like good for them, that they want to, but it's easier for them to make excuses for. So for example, spending money on a cup of coffee every day, a nice latte every day. That money could go towards spending money on investing in your mental health, or investing in art supplies if you're someone who wants to start painting or drawing. It's so easy to get caught up in this everyday, like these little minor details, like minor materialistic details. That's what I'm hearing. Where we will make excuses for the money that we're spending. It's like over here, but then make excuses for why we're not spending it over here. In order to nurture the seeds and to receive the financial health that you're looking for, that will allow it to grow, and that's for both groups, the group that's hoarding the safety net, and then the group that feels like they have no safety net, or that doesn't visually have the safety net, but the abundance, the energetic abundance is coming through, but it's being blocked because of this constriction in this fear. Not investing in the things that you want to do, that are your passions, is stopping from growth, from that growth happening. Because it's not being nurtured. You're not nurturing yourself and what your truth is. What is your truth? And they're asking again, what seeds are you planting? What seeds do you want to plant? Are you going to nurture them? And are you going to stay consistent with nurturing them? You deserve to spend money on your future, on what you want to build your life to be, what you want to create. I'm not saying don't get yourself a cup of coffee, but maybe don't get it every day if you're spending all that money there, or maybe buying clothes that you don't need, or there's so many little things that we can look at that we spend money on, these trinkets, all these things that we don't realize that if someone goes, oh, are you in therapy? And it's like, oh no, I can't afford that. But then they're spending money on all these other things. It feels like there's a truth that needs to be faced. And I'm seeing you looking in the mirror. It's time to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Brutally honest is what I'm hearing. To see like where your priorities lie. Because if that's the way you want to live your life, that's okay. But I'm also hearing and feeling this like complaining energy, this energy of just like complaining about how the life you're living isn't enough and it doesn't feel good, or it doesn't feel like enough, or it's not the way you wanted it to be. But I'm also not seeing a change happening. And anytime someone presents a solution or like an option to make the shift, there's this excuse of like, no, I can't do it. I can't afford it, or I don't have the time. It's really easy to leave ourselves, I'm hearing stranded, to fill these other holes, and I'm seeing like hearing gaps that are superficial, that the world has been telling you is like, it's like, you need this, you need that, you need this type of skincare, you need this type of product, this type of drink that's going to help you. Like, all these things are being thrown at you, and it's so easy for us to be like, yeah, let me take that, let me take that, let me take that. But then when it comes to our actual like inner being, bettering ourselves, we put up this wall that then blocks this abundance, that the universe is trying to send our way, because the abundance is there. But are you willing to receive it? Are you going to light that match? Are you going to light the flame? Are you going to keep it lit or let it burn out? It's time to be honest with yourself, because you have blue, which is throat chakra, you have green, which is heart chakra. And it's about being honest with yourself about what it is you truly want, that you desire, that you love, and actually being willing to invest in it. Invest your time. And again, when I say invest, it doesn't always have to be money. It can just be your time. What time are you putting in to nurture and grow these seeds? Because that is what is being called in for this new moon. Temperance. Having this understanding, being grounded and balanced, and seeing, I'm hearing seeing the future vision. Are you imagining, not even imagining, are you visualizing your future and what you want it to look like? And if you are, what steps are you taking to make that future happen? Because I'm hearing that there's some of you that is maybe misunderstanding what manifestation is. Because manifestation isn't just like, oh, I'm manifesting this and then kind of like throwing it out in like a way where you forget about it and then you just continue doing the same thing over and over again. Manifestation is, I see this for my future. I want this for my future. This is my purpose, my passion. You're visualizing that big picture, and then you start putting it into action with these small steps, because it's the small steps that are going to make big changes. You don't have to just create like it. I think lots of times, like for example, you see influencers on social media, on YouTube, they're creating the thing, you see the high definition, you see like how everything looks, and it's like we convince ourselves that it has to look perfect in order to start it, when really everyone started from the bottom step. I'm seeing stairs from the bottom step. I'm recording this on my phone right now. I'm sure you can tell. I don't have a fancy setup, because it's about investing your time, and as you continue to invest your time, eventually you'll be able to upgrade in more materialistic ways that will help your future. But it's so easy to get caught up in, I'm going to need all this fancy equipment in order to make this happen. Really, the universe wants to know how willing you are to make this happen, and it's about the effort and energy you put into it first. That's what I'm hearing. They want to see you stay consistent before you even bother to buy all the gadgets. That's what I'm hearing. It's trusting that what you are putting out in the world is important and unique, and that whoever is going to be attracted to it is going to be attracted to it no matter how it looks, because there's this energetic feeling there. There's this energetic alignment. It doesn't have to look perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. You are inherently perfect. We are all inherently perfect as we are. They want you to do it in this authentic way, being willing to try it in a way that's uncomfortable, because just because it doesn't look like the rest doesn't mean that it's any less valuable, because it's your energy that's going to bring them in. And this is very ethereal. I mean, you have, looks like it could be a crow or a raven. It's a raven. And then like a hawk. So it's like this ethereal, like, and then I mean you have the purple and the blue, so it's like very third eye and throat of being balanced within your body, being grounded, but again, ethereal. It's like trusting this higher guidance, being grounded in the higher guidance that's coming through, and trusting it and moving forward with it, even if you don't fully understand it. I'm hearing it's time to fly. Angel number 2214, if you feel called to looking that up. Almost feels like I usually shuffle and get more cards, but it feels like it felt like the message was done, but Oracle of Pentacles came out. I'm trying to understand why the energy felt like the message was done, if it's more or so having to do with the closure of the cycle and then the beginning of the new. And I mean, with the Oracle of Pentacles, this is an old statue, and I'm not remembering the name. I think it has something to do with Venus, I'm pretty sure. And what I'm hearing is there's this ancient wisdom inside of you, inside of all of us. And so going back to trusting that ancient wisdom, tapping into it. And I'm actually like seeing like tapping. So if you are willing, if you already meditate, if you like to meditate, if you've never meditated and willing to try meditating, I'm like, it's almost like grounding in your being and tapping the ancient wisdom awake, because it's there, but I'm hearing it's slumbering. It's in a slumber. And it's in a slumber because it's been put into a slumber. And you want to access it, but there's still a lot of things that the way you are approaching how you want to live your life, is there's this disconnect. I'm hearing check your chart where what sign is in Venus, and look into that, because Venus, if I remember correctly, I know like baseline planetary zodiac, well, a little bit more, but more than baseline, but if I remember correctly, Venus has to do with like how you nurture yourself, and I believe it might have to do with finances. I could be wrong. But there's something about Venus and looking into your chart of what it is that you tend to lean towards and how you can create a healthy relationship with bringing in that nurturing and that financial abundance. So check that part of your birth chart out, because it's going to help guide you into how to move forward that feels more in alignment with your ancient wisdom. You have the honeycomb, a hexagon might be important to you, looking up the meaning of a hexagon. Knowing that it takes, like, you see how these bees create their hive. They're putting love and energy into it, and there's this nurturing and there's this team effort. And so I'm hearing something involving community, that if there's a lack in community, it's because you're not ready yet, or your community might be crumbling. Because now is the time to focus on yourself, so then you can bring in the right community, so you know how to nurture them as well. Because a community nurtures each other, but if they don't know how to nurture, if you don't know how to nurture yourself, you won't really know how to nurture that community. And it's not impossible. You can still learn how to do it as you have this community, but there's this frequency misalignment that's happening. So when you align with that frequency, even if you're still learning how to nurture yourself, if you're on that frequency, then you're going to attract people who are on that similar frequency, that you'll learn how to be a team together. Okay, that's it for tarot. They're gonna have me, wanting me to shuffle this. I'm gonna do this and the flower deck for closing out. Peace. This really is about, like, the overall message, if you think about it, is having peace within yourself. I mean, you have temperance, and I kept hearing being grounded in your higher guidance. It's going to bring this sense of peace. The more you trust yourself, the more you're honest with yourself, you are truthful with what it is you want, what your desires are. Peace will come when you are transparent with yourself and others. It may not be peaceful right away, though. Change is uncomfortable. But I'm hearing a saying, it has to get worse before it gets better. And even then, the worse is not really worse. It's a perception thing. It may feel worse. I've been through times where I can say it was the worst part of my life, but really it wasn't, because it brought me to where I am today, and it taught me so much. when you get to the other side and look back, you're like so proud of yourself for being able to work through something that is difficult. And it's learning to be present and mindful even in the extreme discomfort, because we're meant to feel all of it and be present during all of it and really feel into it, because that's what's going to bring the sense of peace, because then you'll know how to feel into the spectrum of experiences and emotions. That is inner peace, being able to walk into something knowing this is going to hurt, this is going to be uncomfortable, but I trust myself and I know I'll be able to work through this and face it. All right. We have the wisteria, longevity, plan for and take the dedicated path. Oh, this is why I love having these cards to just close out, because it really anchors in the message. Plan for and take the dedicated path. This is about consistency. How are you going to nurture your seeds? How are you going to stay consistent in nurturing your seeds? This is a time to feel into yourself, be honest with yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror, see how amazing you are, and be honest with yourself of what you're willing to do, even if it's hard. Because this is the path to abundance, to peace, to living the life you truly want. The life that may feel and seem impossible, that isn't impossible. Because you get to create it. And I believe in you to create that. So, that is all I have for you guys today. I'll see you next time. Bye.